Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to our I Survive session. I am Dana Sigmund, your facilitator for today's session, which is called Amplifying Student Voice and Creativity with our presenter, Jennifer Hall. If you have found yourself in the wrong room, please return to the session board, and a video of this session will be posted in the session board within a few days. I will have your microphones muted during the session, and you will have the ability to unmute your microphone if you would like to add to the conversation. You're also encouraged to use our chat feature and the Q&A feature, which we'll use later in today's session. And without further delay, I'd like to welcome again our presenter, Jennifer Hall.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for today's session on Amplifying Student Voice. And yes, you survived 2020, and 2021 is looking up. So welcome. And for those of you that I have not met, my name is Jennifer Hall, and I'm an educational technology specialist with Atlanta Public Schools. And what that means is that I provide the technology training for teachers, and I also push into classes. Right now that's virtually, and support instruction. So I get to work with teachers and students, and it is an awesome job. Before doing that, I was a middle school language arts teacher for 17 years. And so my English teacher heart is excited to be here with so many media specialists. A little bit about me. I am a nationally board certified teacher, a newly minted ISTE certified educator, Google certified educator, trainer, innovator, MIE expert, all the badges. I'm all about the badges. And if you're on social media, you can connect with me at APSITGen. So super excited to spend some time with you all today. So the goals for our time are that we're going to explore tools to amplify student voice and foster creativity. And then hopefully you're going to gain ideas for amplifying student voice and fostering creativity. So first part of it, talk about some tools. Second part, gain those ideas. All right. I would love to know who's here. So who's in the chat? Let me know. Drop a number 1 if you're elementary teacher, 2 middle school teacher, 3 high school teacher, 4 my media specialists. I know we're going to be got lots of those here. 5 tech coaches, 6 administrators, and 7 other. I apologize if I did not cover your job role. Let us know who our other folks are. And I'm watching for those number 6. I got to be mindful. If we got administrators here, I got to watch what I say, right? Awesome. So yeah, all the media specialists, y'all wear many hats and make magic happen in the school. So thank you so much. Awesome. And I'm seeing so many familiar names as well. Hey, Leslie, how's it going? Pam, good to see you. Martha, so many folks. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. All right. So there is a Q&A feature in there. So if you have any questions, please drop some questions in the Q&A. So the focus of today's session is to talk about the 5 C's. And you've probably heard the 4 C's, and we say the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. But there's, to me, one more very important C, and that is choice. Because if we give students choice, they have voice. And so again, former middle school teacher, that was always my main thing. When we would do projects, I would have a choice board so that students could feel like they had ownership in their learning and demonstrating their learning. So you've probably heard the 4 C's a lot. We talk about the 21st century 4 C's, even though we're 21 years into the 21st century, still very important skills. But I'm going to add that 5th C today and talk about choice. Okay. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the chat. And Dana is awesome and is going to man the chat for me and make sure we answer any questions as they pop up. So I do have a collaborative doc here so that we can participate together and capture some ideas if you are comfortable doing that. If not, just grab the link and hop back to it later. And we're going to drop that link in the chat for you. And it's my little Your Turn doc. And it allows you to, and if you're one of my gifted learners that wants to skip ahead and see what I'm going to talk about, this is your sneak peek. This is a collaborative doc that will allow you to, it's got a try it challenge and also an idea share. So a couple of spots on there to add an idea that you gain for the tool or something that sparks an interest for you and go, ooh, I could do this. I have an upcoming project or an upcoming lesson. I could use that tool to do this task. So go ahead and everybody has editing rights to this. And so that link has been dropped in the chat for you all. And that way you can, it's going to be dropped there. I think it's already gone out. If not, I'm going to drop it for you.
Yeah, Jennifer, I'm struggling with my awesomeness here. I'm
oh, that's all right. Guess what?
The link. So if you have it at your fingertips, if you could drop it in there, that would.
I got it. Here we go. No worries.
Awesomeness restored. Thank you.
No problem. I'm gonna hop back over here and I'm gonna drop it. I got it. Magic's happening. There we go. Dropping that link in there for you all to grab it so that you all can hop in. See, that's why, see, we're working together. We're going to make it work. No worries. It's all good. It's nice to have someone behind the scenes to help me anyway. Usually I'm doing this show solo, so it's all good. So grab that link, join if you want. If it's a little too much, just grab the link and come back to it later. Some people like to multitask and like to jot down ideas and are cool with listening to me simultaneously. If it's too much, no worries. All right, so as we dive in, I want to point out that today's session is an a la carte menu. It is not a deep dive into each of these tools because we only have 40 minutes. So that means I'm going to talk about it, give you some ideas. You're going to hopefully go, oh, yeah, I want to deep dive into that a little bit more. And I'm going to share some resources that you can do a deeper dive. All right, sound good? All right, let's get going here. So first up is Adobe Spark. And if you're not familiar with Adobe Spark, it's 3 tools in one. Okay. So let me know in the chat, has anyone used Adobe Spark before? It's one of my favorite tools because it is super cool and user-friendly for students. All right. So what's great about Adobe Spark is that there's 3 arms to it. Okay. You have the video tool. And when we talk about video, it allows you to go in and create video with templates. So I'm all about, I need students to focus on content, not so much about the process if they're going to get bogged down because their creativity can be a little overwhelming. So you can dive in, start off with a template, and it is drag and drop user interface. It is super simple. It's great for your littles, all the way up to your high school students can work with it. And they don't feel like, oh, well, that's a kiddie tool, you know, like for the older students. You can add in videos, text, photos, icons, and make your videos very engaging. And you can easily share them and download them. And you can share them and actually collaborate. They do have themes. When we talk about the themes, it's a forced choice. You've got a handful of themes, so I'm not going to get bogged down. I can add in my own music. I can set up the way I want it to look, whether it's split screen or adding title or text. So I saw someone said that they use it for their book talks. It's so great. Again, forced choice, you got a handful of options, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that. You know, students still have a little bit of choice. The other thing I like about it is you can do, you can do voice recording. So you can do like the book talks, you can actually do voiceovers. You can go in and it's going to automatically add in elements such as video that can be uploaded and photos that can be uploaded. So it's just a great, easy to use free tool. So if you don't already have access to it, you can access it. You can even sign up your school for it to be able to get some extra features where you can monitor your students' project if you opt in for the school or district-wide license. So that's Adobe Spark Video. There's 2 other arms because I said there's 3 things. So it's like 3 tools in one. The other is Adobe Spark Post. And what's great about Adobe Spark Post is it allows you to create infographics. And because it's in that safe space of Adobe, you know, your students are logging in. It's behind that wall. You can sign up and sign in with Google, or you can sign in with Microsoft, and they have assets available in there. So it's kind of a safe space for students to create. I love that you can go in and start with templates again. So students can start from scratch, or they can start with a template. For example, in social studies, if you were working on a project, you could say you have 3 choices. These are the templates to start with, so that you know that you're kind of setting some parameters, but still giving students some choice. So I can go in and create a flyer and start from scratch, and I can choose any of the examples that they have. Now, you'll notice on my examples here, you see the little yellow ribbon on the right. Those are the premium versions. So there's free version. We know there's always free. And then, of course, there's pay. So for the free version, you have access to certain resources, but for the paid version, you get some more choice, and you can add your own brand. So if you want to upgrade, and I've seen schools do this, they can upgrade so you can have your brand, your colors, your school theme all available, and you can put your own custom logo. But as you can see here, you still have a lot of options. I can use the color scheme I want, the layout that I want for a flyer. So students still have a lot of choice in their design, but you've kind of set those parameters of choose 1 or 2 of these templates and then add that content. This is going to work for elementary, middle, and high because of the fact that it's just very user-friendly. As you can see, the interface is very sleek, not a lot of places to click. Students really can't mess up. And of course, at the top, they have my most favorite buttons, the undo and redo. So if you're making any changes, students can fix things very easily. I do like that you can share your resource and collaborate, and it's very easy for you to publish that resource as well. So that is Spark Post. So that's number 2 of the Adobe tools. Number 3 is Spark Page, which is the ability to create an interactive web page for students. So they can actually create a blog, a web page that is a report on whatever unit you're studying. So whether it's, they could do a website all about an author. So for example, you're doing a book study on Lord of the Flies and you want students to actually link to different resources that talk about that topic. So what's great about this one, again, templates are available, but you're not set on using those, but you can go in and start from scratch with a page, create it, and you can, excuse me, add in titles, subtitles, and it's interactive. It actually can hyperlink to other resources. So this is a great way to create a portfolio, a digital portfolio, so that they can link to resources in Google Drive or in OneDrive if you're a Microsoft school. It can link to Wakelet collections. So many ways you can use it. You can upload photos. And again, students are getting to demonstrate their creativity. In addition to that, they are getting to create a resource. And it can be an ongoing thing. So they could start a portfolio this year and it could travel on to next year, and they can actually make technically sections on there of their work, which is a really great resource for especially our high school students as they prepare for applying to college and they want to have a digital portfolio. Okay. Again, you can share it out and have it be publicly visible or just so that people can see it via the link. As you can see, there's a number of brand choices. Again, forced choice, they're not going to get bogged down on which color theme I want to pick. They're going to focus on the content, because anytime we want students to create anything, it's all about the content. So that is Adobe Spark Page. So there was 3 tools in one. Whew, that's a lot, right? So what do we think? Adobe Spark. If you hadn't heard of it before, are you like, what? I didn't know you could do that with Adobe Spark tools. Let me know in the chat. Are you excited? Were you like, oh, this is a pretty cool tool. I didn't think about it. I'm kind of excited to check of it. There we go. Alicia says, sounds amazing. Awesome. Shannon hadn't played with it yet, but are you excited to try it now? Awesome. Oh, I love it. Margaret says you use it for the library newsletter. Fantastic. Awesome. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. There's also the Q&A option. And do we have a question, Dana?
I think we have a question. Someone had raised their hand just this moment ago. So
perfect. Oh, free. Yes. Alicia, it is free. And you can get the premium version that lets you choose your branding, but you can use all the tools for free. Great question. So someone did raise their hand. Go ahead. If you want to unmute and ask a question, go for it. I see Mary's got a great idea for social studies propaganda project. Fantastic. 5th grade career projects. Loving it.
So it looks like Dixie has her hand up. Dixie, do you have a question?
Yeah, I typed it in the chat too, but I know the chat kind of goes fast.
Yeah.
I've heard of it before. I haven't really played with it, even though I personally have the entire Adobe suite that I pay for. But with kids, if your kids use, they have to create a login, or can they just go on it? Like, is it a web app they can use for free? Because, elementary with signing on, you have to get permission unless it's through the county.
Right. So you can use your Google sign on, or you can use your Microsoft. So if they've already got a login to either of those, they can use that to log in and access
Okay,
it.
good. So we're a Microsoft school, so we can do that. Okay.
Yeah. Great question. Thank you so much. Awesome. All right. So that's Adobe Spark, 3 tools in one. Check that out. All right. So the question here is, what is an idea you have? And we had some great ideas that were dropped in the chat. Some of you hopefully are adding that to our collaborative document. Oh, awesome. Leslie just added it to the list of training tools. Awesome. Excellent. Great ideas. So my try it challenge for you is for you to create something for your students. Now that was the quick version of it, because I could dive deeper into it. So I have an entire tutorial that's on a deeper dive into Adobe Spark. It's linked in this presentation, which you'll get that link at the end. So if you want a deeper dive, that's available for you. Okay. Next tool, which is absolutely one of my favorite tools, is Canva. Do I have any Canva users? If you're not using Canva, it is fantastic. And so Canva has a free version, which is, again, my favorite price. And you can upgrade to the Canva Educator account and get even more perks and options with it. It has tons and tons of templates. So I get asked, what's the difference between using Adobe Spark and Canva? Ease of use, definitely in Adobe Spark. Canva, tons of design options and templates already available. And when you upgrade to the Educator account, it actually has digital worksheets and actual instructional content that you can go in and change. You also have the ability to manage a class, which means you can share out assignments in your class. Your students can work on content and submit it directly to you inside of Canva, which is great. So it levels up the design options. So it might be something more middle high school. I have heard of elementary teachers using it as well. But again, you get that free upgrade to Canva. So if you go to canva.com and look for the Educator upgrade, all it required is that you have to submit evidence that you're a certified educator. So I submitted my certificate from PSC, and within a week I was upgraded. You already need to have an account with them. The free version is great. I've done a ton of stuff with the free version, but I love the ability to have the worksheets that can be created to make interactive activities. It has educational presentations ready to go already in there. So I'd be remiss if I did not mention it. I love that it has customizable Venn diagrams or things that students we know engage in, like Instagram stories, but let's make it an activity you can do in class. My other favorite thing, if any of you follow me on social media, you might know that I am a little obsessed with my Bitmoji. She's affectionately known as Genmoji. She leads a very exciting life and goes all sorts of places. And in this virtual world, she's the one that gets to travel, not me. But Canva has an integration for Bitmoji. You can actually link your Bitmoji to Canva so that they can live in there, and you can very easily add your Bitmoji into Canva creations. I thought that was an extra bonus. It's pretty cool. I use it for a lot of my social media and my YouTube thumbnails and all of that. And what's great is the fact that when you go in to Canva, you can say, this is exactly what I want to create. I want to make a video. You can make videos in there. I want to make a flyer. I want to make an infographic. It's going to already have the custom sizes. And it even has like Google Classroom header as an option. So that means it's going to be exactly the size you need for a Google Classroom header. Just love that it's very easy to use and that you can export your media in all sorts of formats. You can turn them into interactive presentations. So many options. So if you haven't already checked it out, you definitely want to do that. Literally, that's the form you have to fill out. Just a couple of questions about your school, where you work, and upload the example, your evidence that you're an educator. Simple as that. And they are so happy to have educators using this. So that was just a taste, just an introduction. We're not going to do a deep dive into Canva because that we could spend hours on that. If you want to know a little bit more about Canva, they're linked in the presentation is a Creating with Canva session that I did that gives you a deep dive through all of the tools and all the ways you can use it. And I'm seeing all sorts of ideas of ways that Canva has been used. Let me see here. Use Canva to create web page banners, yep, Twitter posts, Instagram. What's cool is there is a Canva app as well. And I should have mentioned this. Adobe Spark also has an app, which allows you, if you have students using iPads, but you can use the mobile app to upload to social media, which is great. I see marketing teachers use that a lot. That's awesome.
Hey, Jennifer, Holly Brown has her hand up and has a question for you.
Fantastic. Holly, go ahead.
Hey, Jennifer, I was just going to mention that if you apply for the Canva Educator and you don't get approved right away, if you'll shoot them a message on Twitter, they're really quick about getting back in touch with you. Their customer service for this free, service that they give to us is amazing. So just, if you do not have the Educator account, why not? It's free and it's amazing, but just reach out to them if you don't get it approved quickly.
Great. Oh, that's a great tip. Good to know. So if you apply, I actually applied, kind of forgot about it, and then was doing a training on Canva. And when I logged in and it was upgraded, I celebrated with the people that were in the training. I was like, what? I'm upgraded. This is magical. So yes, great tip. Thank you, Holly, for letting us know that. Yeah, reach out via social media and let them know, hey, I applied. What's my status? And it's the turnaround's pretty quick, but I know they've had a lot of teachers applying. And the other thing is that they've created on their YouTube channel some great tutorials of ways to use it. Like I was watching it and learned some great ways to do interactive animations in Canva. There was like 3 ways. I was blown away. So many options for Canva. But if you upgrade to the educator account, you have the option of being able to share out and create classes and create assignments. Awesome. So, and I see someone said that they've used the app. It's great for being able to post those social media things. Awesome. All right. As we keep moving, I did a series at the beginning of the school year that was called my Jen's 10 Ideas. So I did 10 tools, 10 days, 10 ideas. So if you want to check that out, I've got 10 ideas for using Canva. That's linked in the presentation and will be shared out with you as well. Whoop. Don't want to watch that right now. Keeping it moving. So your try it challenge is to choose a design template to create a graphic to introduce a new lesson or unit, something that you want to create. So model it for your students. You try it because once you get comfortable with it, it's a little bit easier to introduce it to your students. So that's your try it challenge. And what is an idea you have? And I've seen a couple of people have already shared how they're using it. Add that in our your turn document. What's an idea that you're like, oh yes, we could definitely use Canva. I want to check it out and use it for this project. So add that to our collaborative doc, because we know as educators, the best thing we do is borrow from each other, right? All right, next tool, Jamboard. How many of y'all have been jamming with Jamboard during virtual learning? High five over there. I see that. So this became one of the go-to tools of distance learning for us, especially in APS, that people were like, my math teachers started off with, I needed the ability to do math on a whiteboard for my students. What can I use? So I see Shannon says you've used it, can be a little clunky. It's getting better. I see someone says it's turned off for students. Oh, that's a bummer. Maybe you can get your admin to turn it on. And Leslie says you love Jamboard. It is, I think, a really cool tool. It was initially designed to go with a physical Jamboard, like a big whiteboard that was in your office space, and then you could like log on and collaborate. So there are some limitations to it, and but it's just a really cool tool. They keep adding functionality to it. For example, you can now do custom backgrounds, and before you couldn't do that. So this allows you to do lock what you want. So I can upload anything I want from my computer URL. I can take a picture, Google search it, all of that, upload items. You can even upload GIFs as the primary picture or as the background. And so I love that you can do GIFs. And so I was playing around here. This was a GIF I created for a lesson yesterday. But you can add in images. You can set it white. You got a couple other background options. I have a multitude of pages. I only have 20. So there's some limitations, only 20 frames. I can copy it. I can share it. I can download it as a PDF. So if you need an artifact of student participation, you can download it, easily share it. It's great that you can natively share it in Google Classroom and force a copy, like make a copy for each student, or you can let them all come into one board and collaborate on it, or let them just view an activity you've already created. So you easy to name it. And then if we look at the tools, they've added a few more tools. If you haven't checked it out lately, you have the ability to write with a pen, a brush, only a handful of colors, erase it, the select tool. The sticky notes is probably my favorite right here. So I love that I can add a sticky note, and I've got a handful of colors, and this is a great like stoplight activity. So you can actually have check-ins with your students and let them add and answer questions. In addition to that, you can also upload all sorts of images, and I've used it to add really cool animated GIFs and things to make a Jamboard a little more engaging. So I was just playing around here, uploaded a picture of about school. You can resize it. You can move it wherever you want. In addition to that, you can also add in shapes, and you can add in text, and you can format things for the text as well. So the text and the shapes have really leveled up what you can do, and the ability to upload a custom background. All of those are great features of Jamboard. If you are interested, you can also level up and use tools like cooltext.com to put in animated text to really level up what it looks like on your Jamboard. And you can also use another tool called Textgiraffe to let students create their own name, like their logo. So when they participate in online activities, they have their own personal name on there. It's kind of fun. I do love that you can use GIFs. I have a number of templates that are available on my website, and that's going to be linked here in the presentation as well, at techtips411/Jamboard. And so you can borrow those and use them to your heart's content, change them up if you want. Quite a few of them are based on the Discovery Education Spotlight on Strategies, because those are just quick, easy to use strategies with your students in all content areas. So there are a number of Jamboard templates if you're interested. As part of, if you have never seen Jamboard before today and you need a little more help, I do have a Getting Started with Jamboard. That's been linked in, oops, hold on. Hello, I'm going to show you. Sorry, we don't want to hear that right now. Sorry about that. I was doing so good on the clicking, and I knew I was going too fast. I also have a 10 ideas for Jamboard series as well, 10 ways you can use Jamboard. So, your Try It Challenge. Create a jam for an upcoming lesson or getting to know you activity. It's just kind of a fun way to engage participants. We did one for the Global Google Educator Group where we made a timeline and we dropped our Bitmojis or Post-it notes on the timeline to show when we started teaching. It was just kind of a fun way to get to know a little bit more about each of us. So what's an idea you have for Jamboard? I saw a couple people dropping in the chat that they were a little bummed that it might be turned off. Maybe it might be able to get turned on. I saw someone say if you have access to Jamboard, there is a maximum number of 50 participants simultaneously. The more, and really, I'll be honest, the more than 30, it starts to get a little bit clunky. So it's really geared towards a group, a class activity or a small group activity. So keep that in mind. Okay. Awesome. Excuse me. Let's see here, moving along here. If you find that Jamboard is a little limited with what you want to do, there is another whiteboard tool called Whiteboard Chat that is like Jamboard on steroids, because it allows you to monitor students simultaneously on individual boards, even though they're working collaboratively on one board, which is really cool. And you can upload PDFs instantly and turn them into interactive lessons. So if you want to level up, you might want to check out Whiteboard Chat. All right. So we're moving along here, and I know we're moving quickly. Remember, I said when we started that this was like an a la carte. I was going to dive into a bunch of tools and share some ideas. Next up, we have Soundtrap. Has anyone heard of Soundtrap? I see one wave, thumbs up. Okay, Soundtrap is a really cool recording tool, a music tool, but I think it's a great way. I see. Thank you, Dana. You love it. It's such a great way to create audio, whether it's music or whether you want to create a podcast. So podcasting is so big right now. This is a great way to create a podcast and give your students that voice, literally, because they're recording their voice and sharing what they know. And you have the free version of Soundtrap, allows you, when you sign up, to create 5 simultaneous projects. There is an education version that you can get, and you actually can monitor all of your students' projects. That's a premium service. But if you just want students to sign up, especially if they're 13 or over and they want to sign up and they want to create their own account, they can do that. You can sign up with Google, and they can share out their resource, share and even collaborate on recordings. What's great is that there's tracks that are on there so they can make their own sounds. They can actually add in their own instruments. You can record directly to it. Because it's collaborative, you can drop in multi-layer tracks. Think of it like GarageBand, but web-based. Because it's on the web and there's a mobile app, it just makes it a little more accessible and allows for collaboration, especially if you're still virtual learning or you're in a hybrid model or simultaneous. You have the ability to work online. And what's really cool is I can start on the desktop, work on my project, and then I can actually open it up on my app and record something. For example, I'm out and about doing a story somewhere. This was actually an idea from, they did one of my social studies teachers did a walk at Oakland Cemetery, and the students were recording sounds and audio while they're there, and they could actually use that real audio to produce their project. Okay. So great for real world. Let me record it on the fly on my phone and then come back to the desktop and actually edit it together and collaborate. So it's just a really cool tool. Again, for free, five tracks simultaneously. And once you're done with the track, you can export it so you can keep working on it. So I actually used it to create my Tech Tips 411 intro music I use in my videos. I also used it to do like a really cool kind of an announce track. So think about like your hype music. So when you're in your online sessions or back to face with your students, you can actually have your hype music. It's kind of fun. So I have a little some infographics on how to get started using it for podcasts, kind of like where the features are, and also just kind of a how to get started with podcasting in general infographic available in the presentation. Lots of ways you can use this in the classroom. Great for a weekly news broadcast, because we know not a lot of kids want to be on camera, but they might be more open to recording audio and participating that way. Obviously, documenting a field trip is when we get back to the real world. Recording class discussions, if you want to use that and kind of remix it. You can also use it for book reviews. So my media specialists would love that idea. Conducting interviews. I actually did a project with an ELA teacher, and students had to do a biography project and interview someone in their family. And we used Soundtrap as a way for them to create their podcast. Obviously great for original compositions. I do a Shakespeare film project with my middle school that I support, and we actually have had a number of original compositions that the students have created and produced, and their own music is featured in their movies. And just also a great way to review content, because if you just want to record a quick audio piece, you yourself can do it and easily share it. And you can add in sound effects just to make it fun. So your try it challenge is for you to create a message for your students and use the instruments to create a background track. Go ahead and make your own hype music. It's just kind of a fun thing to do. All right. And then have your students create what would be their hype music. It's a great way to connect with them and get to know who they are, but because you'll see the kind of tone and instruments that they want to use to create what is their hype music. Think about when baseball players walk on the field, basketball players run out on the court, they have that song, that hype music. So it's a great activity for you to create with your students. What's an idea that maybe you have for Soundtrap? Drop that in the chat. Let us know. Drop it in our collaborative doc. Was there something that you're like, ooh, I have an upcoming project and Soundtrap is what I was looking for? I'm hopping over here to the chat to see if I missed anything that was popping up here. Let's see here. I see someone's playing in Jamboard over there. Awesome. Jamboard is so much fun. All right. So Soundtrap, thumbs up. Kind of cool. How many of y'all are kind of excited? Yes, the presentation for the slide is going to be, the slide presentation is going to be dropped here just a minute. I'm the former middle school teacher that's like, I'm going to give you the presentation link at the end, so you might pay attention to me a little bit while I'm talking. All right. Moving along here. All right. So next up, book creator. And hopefully you are up to the challenge and someone's going to win that book creator subscription, because it is awesome. I have to confess, the first time I saw book creator, I was like, no, I think that's really for little kids. No, I work with middle and high school. That's not my jam. But let me tell you, we had a training with John, who came and talked to our department and shared the awesomeness that is book creator. And I am now a book creator fan because it is so awesome. What's great is when you go to create a new book, you can choose whether it's landscape, square, all of that. So how you want to produce a book, you can actually have it be cartoon style, which I think is super cool. But there's so many things you can add to it. So I can add in all this kinds of media, import any kind of video, any kind of pictures. I can take a camera picture. I can actually write on it with a pen. I can add in text. I can add in thought bubbles if we're going to do cartoon style, which is a great way for students to explain their thinking. I can add in all sorts of shapes. I can go in and so it's a great way for students to retell what they learned in any subject area. Okay. I love that it has these drawing tools. So it's a great app if you're on an iPad, so you can use the touch for drawing. But if you're on a desktop, that app is really good as well. You can add in emojis. You can add in, like, got the paint bucket. You got all these options of the ways you can jazz this up and add content. In addition to that, it's easy for you to share it and collaborate. So I can share out a book and have multiple people contribute to it. So with the free version of Book Creator, I think you get one library and you get 40 books, I believe. So you can actually partner students so that they work together on a book. or you can have them work separately and then combine it into one book, which I think is super cool. I love that you can use it to create all different types of resources for your students. For example, a playlist, because you can embed video. I can easily add in a video on each page and provide some context for students. It also has a read aloud feature. So once they create it, it has the read aloud and makes it accessible for students. I also did a session on the 10 ideas for using a book creator with some example templates. So you might want to check that out if you're like, oh yeah, book creator, I got to check that one out. I do have 10 ways you can use it. So I think it's a great way to make an interactive book about you and your class expectations. I know that for us in Atlanta Public Schools, we are returning to learn face-to-face with students. They're coming back in the next couple of weeks. So even though you've been in class with them, there might be an opportunity you're going to talk about what are our face-to-face expectations, so you can make an interactive book about that, do that in a digital way, okay? So any ideas somebody else might have for book creator? Drop that in our chat, in the chat, or in our your turn option. Whew. 2 tools in 5 minutes. We're going to make it. The last 2 I want to talk about are Google Drawings. How many of you use Google Drawings? I'm a Google Drawings addict. I use it every week for my weekly tech tip. And it's a newsletter. If you're interested, you can sign up for it. It is a great tool, and people go, why drawings versus slides? And I saw a hand go up. Was there a question? Yeah, I see Jessica's obsessed with it. So great. So awesome. Yes, Catherine. I love it because slides is great. And I use slides if I need multiple pages or I need to be able to really collaborate. If I need just one document, if it's like my newsletter, I'm going to go with drawings because I can use the entire canvas and see what I'm working on. Great for timelines. Great for digital manipulatives. There's so many ways you can use it. If you're not already using it. And I loved just the ability to create and modify things. For example, I told you earlier, I love my Bitmoji. And so I like to bring in a Bitmoji and modify it and change it and do that in Google Drawings. But really what amazes me is starting with a blank canvas and introducing the tool to students. So I actually worked with my 6th graders. And in science, these are some of their planet posters they created. I was amazed. They'd never seen drawings before. And they started with that blank canvas and they had to create posters about the planets. And I was just amazed. And every time we do this activity, I've done it for several years at one of my schools. And every year they get better because just giving students that choice and the ability to create really sparks a lot of interest. Because we started this project because we had students that say, guess what? I can't draw, but really you can because you can use the tools in Google Drawings. I love using it to create memes. On my template page on my site, I've got a meme template that you can check out. And if you're not familiar with drawings, I've got all the how-tos and 10 ideas for that. This was one of my favorite activities, is to create a meme about your ideal vacation, which right now my ideal vacation would be to go anywhere outside of my house. Just saying, anywhere. I'm an avid traveler, and so I would definitely love to check that out. Maybe you have an idea of where you're using Google Drawings. Please drop that in the chat. And I see this. Oh, look at that. Great, Chelsea. You used it for vision boards. That's a great way to use it. And I would be remiss as we wrap up if we were talking about amplifying student voice and creativity, and I did not mention Flipgrid. How many of you have the Flipgrid fever? Flipgrid is one of my all-time favorite tools because, hello, it's free, and they keep adding and keep making it better. All right, I see some folks here saying that they are all about the Flipgrid as well. Awesome. Why do I love Flipgrid? Flipgrid is a student tool. It's not a content tool. It's not based on, math, science, or ELA. It's about it being interdisciplinary, and it's building communication skills. I know that when I was in the classroom, that there would always be the one kid that monopolized the conversation and another kid that you knew the answer that would not contribute. Flipgrid makes it easy for you to balance that, allowing every student equal voice. Yes, book talks. I have one of my media specialists that did book reviews and actually posted them up in the media center. So you could come up and use the QR code scanner and see the students' actual book reviews, which is so cool. There are so many ways that you can use Flipgrid. movie trailers, musical performances, dramatic readings. We've used it in so many ways. I've actually seen my math students create math problems and actually explain their thinking because you can use the whiteboard feature. So many ways that you can use Flipgrid there. We always want to be, posing the question, how do we foster student voice? And there's, it's not about the tool, it's about giving those students choice and the ability to engage in the content. I would love to know some ways you're using Flipgrid. If you've never heard of Flipgrid before, I do have a training on that. I'll put that in there. This is a really, really quick thing to do. 40 minutes is a lot. And usually I've had up to like an hour and a half where I can do a deep dive. So I did add these resources in so you can come back and check those out if you want to know more about any of the tools I've talked about. But there's so many ways you can app smash. Let's use Flipgrid with Adobe Spark because you can edit something in Adobe Spark and download it and upload it to Flipgrid so everyone can view that creation. Let's create something in Google Drawings and then bring that into Adobe Spark. There's so many ways you can app smash. So I do have a list of a bunch of different ways, project ideas by content area, whether you're using video or audio. If you want, ideas for social studies, language arts, math, all of that is in the presentation link, which Dana can drop that now if he wants to do that, because I know people have been hanging out and waiting. In addition to that, ideas for creating a website or blog for classes. Whew, right on time, 10:10. I made it.
All right. Excellent. Now breathe. Take some
Really
nice big deep breaths. You're probably dizzy because you've been talking so fast and going so hard. So good job. I want to thank everyone for showing up today, especially our presenter who did an amazing job, Jen Hall. So just give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Please return to the session board for links for additional fun and sessions, and be sure to come back to the session board in a few days where all of today's videos will be available. This room will close in just a moment. Thank you for participating in I Survive Teaching 2020, and please remember to tag #LMS Collab and #LMS Collab 21 on Twitter. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Dana. I appreciate you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Good job.
Awesome. Thank you.